you? How's it going?
I'm great because I have some exciting news to share. But first, let's introduce ourselves in the podcast.
Oh, right. I'm Candice.
I'm Deanna, and this is No Fucking Way.
So what's your exciting news?
I got a new job, and I'm so excited because it's not only a really great opportunity for me, but it's getting me out of a really horrible situation. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
I was going to get one of those like bullhorn things to go off.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about that.
Yay!
And
Where are you?
Yeah.
And you're from home, right?
Yeah, I'll be working from home, so that's awesome. I won't have to worry about a commute anymore. I mean, I was only driving like 35 to 40 minutes a day, but that still like adds up, and that's a lot. You know?
I was thinking today, I went to Best Buy today to pick up my computer, and I was in line for almost 40 minutes. There was only one person in front of me and multiple people behind the desk. It's a whole thing. I'm not even going to get into it. But anyway, while I was standing there, I was thinking, how much time have we wasted standing in line somewhere and like just sitting in your car?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine if I'm driving. I don't count that. If I'm driving, I like driving like long distances, so that doesn't bother me. But like traffic and waiting in line.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
When I'm sitting in traffic, like I'd rather go around and wind up like probably getting there at the same time, but like taking way more miles because at least I'm moving than to like sit there in the traffic. I hate it so much.
I do too. I do too. I do not miss driving all the way to Duluth every day. It was horrendous.
Something not that cool happened to me this week. I had fraud on my credit card.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a lot?
No, not a lot. Like, I think it was Sunday night, I got a text that said that my order was ready to pick up at some restaurant. I don't remember what it was called right now. But I thought, oh, somebody just put in like the wrong number, you know? So I just kind of ignored it. But the next morning I woke up and I had a text from my credit card company saying that they declined a charge from that restaurant because they suspected that it was fraud. So I was like, oh my God. So I got online and checked my statement, and there was a charge like 2 days prior to that. So like Saturday, for this like chicken restaurant called like Ponco Chicken or something for like $46. And then there was a couple...
They're like, Deanna doesn't eat here. This is not her.
There was a couple charges for $25 from Einstein. And so I think they were buying like a gift card or something.
Yeah.
And I told Cody, I was like, I think they knew it was fraud because they were like, this bitch only spends like $15 on food at a time, so we know it's not her.
Do you know how many times Peter has actually called our credit card company multiple times, like when we first got married, thinking there was something on our card that was fraud, and it was me.
That's so funny.
Like, no, Peter, that's me. It's not.
He's like, what is SHEIN? I don't...
But one time there was a charge on there one time for like $250 from Victoria's Secret like 10 years ago, and he didn't do anything about it because he thought it was me. And I was like, that's not me. I swear to God, that's not me. And he's like, it's really like, it's okay. You know, I just want to know because, you know, it's such a big purchase. I'm like, that's not me. Call them.
That's so funny.
It's funny.
Yeah, so that wasn't cool. But I mean, I was really happy for the rest of the week because, you know, I got a new job, so whatever.
Yay!
Do we have any new shout outs?
So we have some new Patreon people, and I didn't.
Yay!
I know. So we have new Patreon subscribers. We have the Alt Millers, Kayla and Bud.
Oh, thank you.
It's so cute because they subscribe separately, like days apart from each other. They didn't do it like as a couple. So that's very cute. I love them. We've known them since middle school, high school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not Bud, high school for Bud, but either way, we love them. Thank you guys. And then also Carla, who I don't know if you met her. That's my mom's best friend. She was at the baby shower. You remember her?
Yeah. Yeah, I met her.
Yeah. So Carla also, thank you, Carla. We sent you guys some love notes. So check your mail. And there's stickers in there also. The stickers are they're much smaller than I thought they were going to be. To me, 2 inches sound pretty big, but it's not that big. So there's stickers in your mail. There's not just the postcard. So don't throw them away because they're very cute.
I noticed on like our statistics or whatever, we have a listener in the UK.
Yes. Did you see that in Wales?
Yeah.
Yes, that was so exciting. I saw it because it's so tiny and it was like kind of gray. I zoomed so hard. I'm like, is that a listener in Wales? Do you know anyone in Wales?
No. But remember that guy on Instagram messaged me from Hungary? I was actually checking to see if we had any downloads from Hungary because I was going to give him a shout out, but he didn't listen. So
he wanted you for other reasons, I think.
To get my money because he wanted to talk to me about financial advice. Like, please.
Right. So should we talk about the Facebook page?
Yes.
We started a Facebook page. There's probably there's probably already like 30, 35 people.
Like 30. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can search for it if you listen, if you want to follow. We set it up to have just private discussions with people that are listening. It's not an open page. You have to be accepted in. So we can't have any bad people or people that don't listen or people that just want to come in there and fart around. We won't let you in. So
no.
We have to accept you. So join that. We can have our own little discussions in there. It's very fun.
Yeah, I'm excited about that because I think we'll be able to get some ideas about what people want to hear at the end of the show when we try to do our fun little thing or that kind of stuff. So
I just found out this week what do you know what Discord is?
Yes.
Have you known what that was for a long time? I just found out.
No, I just found out what it was and I joined one and then I muted all the notifications because there were so many people in it and I didn't want to be a part of the conversation anymore, so I muted the notifications on that. But
yeah, I thought about that too because I know Facebook is just kind of like outdated, but it's so easy to find. I mean, it's just convenient because like everyone has Facebook. So I don't know. I thought about doing a Discord too, but it's such a separate, I don't know. Everyone already has Facebook. So I just thought that was easy.
Yeah. And like the thing about Discord is, so like one of the reasons I didn't like trying to join in on the conversation is because I wouldn't check it all day. And then I would go in and they would be like having this conversation that had nothing, like I had no knowledge of what they were talking about. So I would have to scroll up and see if I could get some context and then scroll back down and there's more replies. I just felt like I couldn't keep up. So not that we have that many fans, but
that also annoys me about, on some of the podcasts I listen to, their Facebook pages that I follow, there will be a status in there that's like, hey guys, what's the best restaurant to eat in this area? I'm like, don't do that. That's so annoying to me. Don't do that.
Here's another thing that you shouldn't do. I hate when I see on a group where it says, delete if not allowed. Like, they're going to, yes. You don't have to.
Or if you have to say that, then don't post that. If you have to say delete if not allowed, don't do it.
Right.
It's not allowed. If you're not going to come in and talk about what we're talking about or something related or your own story, don't ask for someone to come like cut your fucking grass or something. You know?
Right. And it becomes like almost like people just say it just to say it before they post something. Like, no, it's fine. Right. I mean, you will delete it. So.
Right. But then at the same time, I second guess myself and I'm like, well, am I just being a bitch because they feel like this is a community and they're friends? And why am I being so rude?
We're just not social, I guess.
I know. There's other pages to get Yelp if you want to find the restaurants around you. Don't ask it.
I know. Google.com is a suggestion I have for you.
Yes. That just reminded me, you know what else? Let's talk about all the things we hate. You know what else I hate? I hate when someone asks me a question that they can Google. Like when someone texts me a question they can Google.
Yeah.
Like if we had, like we've had someone, like say we've had someone coming into town before and they're like, oh, what's the weather going to be there this week? I'm like, don't you have the weather app on your phone? Like, oh, God.
I hate that too. Or like when people post on social media about things that they can Google, like, what's the phone number to the tag office?
Yes.
Google it. I think it's a little different, like if, say, you want people you know and their like personal experience, like has anyone ever gone to blah blah blah, but
or like yeah
to just ask a general question, I'm like, what if it's easier for you to Google it? Like, can we
talk about the conversation that we had earlier today?
Yes.
So Deanna texted me today, or she messaged me and she said, this is at like noon today. It said, could the Electoral College just vote Trump? ? Like they don't have to go with what their state majority says, right? And I stared at that for so long and I was like, why the fuck is she asking me this? And I responded, you're asking the wrong person. I said, I have no clue. And then she took a minute and she said, LMFAO. She said, I said, I have never even voted before this year. And Deanna said, I actually did ask the wrong person. I meant that for someone else. I'm dying laughing. And I started laughing so hard. I'm like, why? And for a second, I'm like, I second guessed our entire friendship. I'm like, why does she think that I have? Does she know me?
Well, it's so funny because when you replied, I was confused at first because I was like, why is Candice answering me on this? And then when I realized, I laughed so loud that I scared one of my coworkers. And then I asked the person that it was meant for, and they didn't know either. They weren't really sure. And I Googled it, and it turns out like they can vote however they want to, but it hasn't. I mean, it's happened sometimes, but it's like, you know, each of those electoral votes, you know, is one person that's voting, I guess. I don't know. It's confusing, but
yeah, you lost me with the very first text about it. But I was about to leave. Blair was napping and Peter's working from home, so I was about to run out and run some errands. And I heard him coming down the stairs and he goes, what are you cackling about so loudly? And I let him read it. He started laughing so hard. Oh, it was hilarious.
Just it was very funny.
I stared at that question from you. I was like, why does she? I even scrolled up to see what we were talking about before. Why did she ask me that?
Well, like, so I was asking my friend Chris, and so you both have a name that starts with a C, and then you both have like a profile picture that's kind of like far away, like it's not like your face like up close.
Oh, yeah.
So I just messed up and clicked on the wrong person, basically.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
So am I going first this week? I don't remember. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, it is you. Okay, cool. I'm gonna sit back and relax.
Okay, so I decided to do basically it's mysterious disappearances.
Oh.
So there's this book series called Missing 411, and there are 2 documentaries also, and I'm going to link those in the show notes, but David Paulides, he's a former lawman turned investigative journalist. He's the one that wrote all the books and produced the documentaries. So he says on his website, the project initially started as a meeting with a park ranger and slowly evolved into a study on missing people who vanished in the wild, many under highly unusual circumstances. We found that many of the cases we've researched, parents and relatives of the victims believe a kidnapping had occurred. Law enforcement and the media usually do not publicize concerns of kidnapping or abduction when the missing can be explained through traditional means. There are too many of these cases to ignore, and there is a consistency to the stories. So he and his team rule out any cases where there's evidence of animal predation, mental health issues, and suicidal intent. If the person deliberately wanted to walk away from their life and not be found, and also crime or like a drowning.
Do you listen to the Vanished podcast?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, so good.
See, sometimes like with missing people, I'm like, they'll be like, well, yeah, she was a drug addict and she was known to be missing for several days, but it's not like her to be missing for 6 months. It's like, okay, come on.
Right, yeah.
This isn't that big of a mystery.
Yeah.
So actually, he came to this museum in Cherry Log, Georgia. So if you're close to that, it's like up in North Georgia. You should totally go visit it. But it's a Bigfoot museum. They have like artifacts and like all these things, and they have talks there. So we actually got to talk to, well, I mean, not really talk to him, but I did get to ask him a question because he did like a little Q&A thing after. Yeah. So I talked to David Paulides, and I asked him about how, because a lot of his stories are kind of like several years old. I mean, if not like maybe even 50 years older, something like that. So some of them are kind of old, and I'm like, is it because you're looking for more evidence, or, you know, is it because of the change in technology that, you know, it's easier to like locate people? And he said it's mostly due to the fact that he wants to make sure that there are no explainable circumstances before he like reports on a story.
Yeah.
You know, so that was pretty cool. So the first one I'm going to start with, the missing person was named Keith Parkins. It was in Ritter, Oregon, and he was 2 years old when he went missing. This is in the Missing 411 Western U.S. and Canada book. He was visiting his grandparents on the fringe of Umatilla National Forest. He wandered away from the home, and the grandparents called the police and there was a large response. He went missing around noon on Wednesday, April 9th, 1952. The search went through Wednesday night. So a search for a small child in the mountains would normally be confined to like a 1 to 2 mile radius of the residence. And this was like cold temperatures. So in cold temperatures, 95% of all missing children between 1 to 3 years old are found within 2 miles of a rural location. But for unknown reasons, the searchers looked further than that, and it was an unbelievable distance for even a mature man to cover. On April 10th, a newspaper in the area reported a little boy who ran and stumbled over 12 miles in 19 hours was found unconscious this Thursday morning and is expected to recover. So he walked at 2 years old 12 miles in a span of 19 hours in treacherous terrain.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. Like, I don't even think I could do that. You know,
that does seem insane until I think about watching Blair like scoot around this house the way she does. So it just circles for hours.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take Blair to Oregon and see if she can make this 12 mile.
We're going to test her.
Yeah. We're going to put a little GPS monitor on her and see how she does. So he was found lying unconscious in a creek bed, and he had scratches on his entire body. A few days later, it was reported his mother said the boy had forgotten about his night of horror. His pants were ripped to shreds, and he climbed through fences and brush in the mountains.
Oh my God.
There were news clippings that stated that he had to climb numerous fences, cross icy creeks, and climb at least 2 mountains to get to the location where he was eventually found. All of this in just 19 hours. Keith's father stated he must have been running almost completely continuously to cover that amount of ground.
You think oh my God, I'm trying to imagine if he was like scared or if he just, kids, when you see a dog that has like the zoomies and they're just like running in circles crazy in like an open field. I just wonder if he was just so excited to be able to like run that he was just like running.
It's crazy because, I don't know enough about child behavior to say like a child would do XYZ. I feel like I would give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe as an adult, because you're considering the circumstances and you don't know the end, or you don't know. Right. But as like a 2-year-old, you're just like, oh hey,
just keep going,
run around. Yeah. Oh my God.
So David has shown many search and rescue coordinators this case, and none have ever heard of a 2-year-old that could cover that much ground in the mountainous ravines and creeks in 19 hours. Do you know who Les Stroud is? Do you know Survivor Man?
No. What is that? A show?
Survivor Man. Well, Les Stroud is Survivor Man, and it's a show where he'll like go out to Alaska on an island by himself and like spend 2 weeks, and he has a camera and it's just him. There's like no one there. Oh. Yeah.
What is that?
He's like,
what is that on? Like,
I think the Discovery Channel.
I would definitely love that. I love Naked and Afraid.
Yeah. You should definitely check it out. He's really good. But he actually heard about this case, and he tried to travel the path that child could have taken, and stated that the terrain would be too treacherous for a 2-year-old because it was almost too treacherous for him. So isn't that crazy?
Yeah. There's no other, are there other, what other ideas do they have to say how he could have got where he was? Like, what else are they going off of? They just really think
David won't say like 100% like what he thinks it is, because I think he thinks it might be different things in different situations. And this is kind of where like the weird conspiracy part comes out. Wow. Some people think like maybe it's like an alien abduction, or maybe,
or maybe a big mother brown bear picked him up and carried him to safety.
What's crazy is sometimes when they find these kids, if they have, the verbal abilities to say so, sometimes they'll say something about a big hairy man that kept them warm all night, or that saved them. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is so crazy. I love stuff like that. Like if you're in the woods, I just picture like one of us in the woods sitting by ourselves. A bear would maul me in like 5 minutes. But I feel like a bear comes across like an infant or a baby. I don't think they would. I don't think they would do that,
Yeah, because I feel like there have been instances where like a child has said something about like sleeping with a wolf or something like that, and I feel like I don't know if they're hallucinating it or what the deal is. But my next story I actually left in the other room, so you'll have to wait a second.
Okay.
Okay, so my next story is about Christopher Tompkins. This is more recent. So he went missing on January 25th of 2002 in Ellerslie, Georgia. He was 20 years old at the time of his disappearance. So he was a surveyor, and on January 25th, he drove to the surveyor's office where he parked his car and rode to the work site with the business owner. Chris worked the morning hours with the other 3 men without any incident. Shortly after lunch, all of the workers were walking on the shoulder of Highway 85 between County Line Road and Warm Springs Road. The employees were approximately 50 feet apart, walking the highway. When the work associates last saw Chris, he was near the back of the group, near the side of the road. A minute or more passed, and the crew looked behind them, and Chris was gone, completely disappeared. There was a tall barbed wire fence between the shoulder of the road and the private property that borders the highway. When fellow employees went back to the area where Chris was last seen, they found one of Chris's boots lying near the fence and some coins lying near the boots on the grass. They also found tools that Chris had on him lying and scattered on the ground around the fence. The owner of the surveying business did call Chris's mother and explained what happened. They waited until 4:15 p.m. and tried to report him to the sheriff as a missing person, but the sheriff would not take a report until he was missing for 24 hours. Once that time passed, an investigation started. The sheriffs found a piece of blue cloth on the barbed wire near where his boot was found, and it was a fiber that matched the blue jeans that he was wearing. The area on the other side of the barbed wire fence was best described as heavily wooded with swamps, snakes, and a very thick vegetation, a place most people wouldn't want to go. Almost a year after the disappearance of Christopher, the owner of the land where Chris would have had to cross once over the fence reported to the sheriff that he found Chris's other boot in the field. This piece of evidence was turned over to the sheriff. And that's all the information they have. They've never found anything ever since.
Oh my God.
This book was it was written in, let me see, 2011. So I Googled it, to make sure there were no other leads that kind of popped up about this case, and there haven't been anything since that time. So isn't that crazy?
Oh my God.
He just disappeared almost out of thin air.
So when I watched, did you finish the whole second season of Unsolved Mysteries?
No.
How many have you watched? Have you watched any?
I think I watched 1 or 2.
Did you see the one about all the those kids going missing at the park in Brooklyn?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Well, and not even that. So I won't say anything about that because I want you to watch it. But when I listened to The Vanished, so when I listened to the Vanished podcast, to me, not someone missing someone like that in your family, someone like that disappearing that is so much worse to me than someone coming back to me with multiple gruesome facts about what they found and what happened to them. And I want to know everything. I would rather hear all of those details than someone be like, I don't know. They're just gone. They're just gone.
Yeah, me too, because that whole time, you're holding out hope, even if it's been 10 years or 15 years, because there are people that have resurfaced after that amount of time.
Yes.
So you're always holding out hope that that person's going to come back, and you're just always wondering.
And also, not even holding out hope, but also just I would be racking my brain all day, every single day. How do you go to work or go do anything without thinking oh, where's Deanna? I still know where Deanna's at.
I watched a documentary where this guy, basically he kind of got into some trouble. He was going to be in some legal trouble. So he basically changed his name and moved away and started this whole new life with a new identity and didn't tell his family at all because he didn't want the police to know where he was.
Yeah.
And he wound up dying of natural causes, but one of his friends from work wanted to know a little bit more about his life, and then he kind of discovered this whole secret identity thing, and he spent all this time trying to figure out who he was before, and he wound up finding the guy's mother and sister and was able to let them know that their son and brother had passed away.
Wow.
But it was such great closure for them because they had been wanting to know for so long where he was.
Well, that's one of the other episodes of the second season of Unsolved Mysteries is that woman that goes to that hotel and uses a fake name and commits suicide.
Oh, yeah.
That one?
I saw that one.
And just no fake name. Somehow she got away with not having to pay for the room right away.
Mm-hmm.
Or credit card with her name. She gave a fake name. No one has any idea who she is. It's insane.
Yeah.
That story was really fucking weird.
And it was like she was almost like a secret agent or something because she had all the tags torn out of her clothes and everything, right?
Yeah.
That was really bizarre.
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything? I guess I don't know. I guess they would track like where your clothes are from, but my God, that doesn't how does that link you to anything where your clothes are from, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. That the second season of that I thought was so good. And at first, did you see the one about all the tsunamis?
No. I
Did you
think
watch
maybe
that?
I've only watched the first one. Was the second one another subtitles one? Because I think it came on with subtitles and I was like,
Okay.
this.
Okay, but you know what? When that first season came out and I told you, I was like, you said that you skipped an episode that has subtitles on it, and I found it being the best one. But I didn't, I don't know how I did this, but somehow I didn't realize every single episode has subtitles. Every episode. The ones that are in all English still have subtitles.
Oh. Okay, well, maybe I accidentally had subtitles turned on. So do you.
Yeah, but there wasn't subtitles on the show I watched before or after that.
Oh, okay. That's crazy.
It's actually embarrassing. It's not crazy. I'm just stupid.
Well, I mean, the only reason I do that is because I like to, like, do something like crochet, or I like to be doing something while I'm watching something.
Yeah. But how do you crochet and read subtitles?
I don't. That's why I can't watch those episodes.
Oh. But when I have the subtitles turned on, I will, like, in the episodes that are in English and have subtitles, I'm reading the subtitles, but I speak English, and then I'm not watching the show. I'm not seeing any of the pictures or anything because I'm reading, which I don't need to be doing.
I'm hard of hearing. Like, I can't understand people sometimes, so I kind of like having subtitles on when it is English because I'm like, well, I didn't really understand what they just said anyway.
I laughed so hard at this meme. Did you see that I shared a few months ago? It said, like, can we have subtitles in real life because I can't understand anything that anyone is saying to me ever. I laughed so hard.
That would be nice. That has to be like, you know, the Google glasses that you can get?
Yeah.
Like, that has to be a feature on those soon because
I'm sure.
I would love to have that.
Yeah. You know what I thought, and especially it reminded me since you recommended another book, we should find a way to braid in, like, you can do some book recommendations and I'll do some movie recommendations. Like at the beginning or towards the end, just what you read recently or what you want people to read or whatever. Because I feel like you read a lot of books and I watch a lot of movies.
Yes, I agree with that. And I also have been wanting to do more like, there are some things that I want to cover, but I feel like deserve more like in-depth research.
Yeah.
So I want to actually like read a book on it. Like, I did that last week, but I didn't get to finish the whole book before the podcast. So I needed to just not get so excited about the topic and, you know, hold on to it for a little while.
Okay. Are you ready for me?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to tell the funniest story. So Carla, who I mentioned earlier, my mom's friend who became a Patreon subscriber. So I figured out what I already had this in a list of things that I wanted to cover because it's so bizarre. And so on Monday, I did everything. I watched these documentaries on Sunday night. I made all these notes on Monday. I did all my research, everything, made my little story on Monday. On Thursday, Carla became a Patreon subscriber or whatever. I saw the email. You can send, when you donate, you can send a little like private message. And her message said, "Love the podcast. You should cover Tamara Samsonova, the granny ripper in Russia." And that's my fucking story.
Oh my God.
I haven't talked to her in months. I haven't talked to her even since I started this podcast. I thought I found this like insane story that's in even the BuzzFeed article that I got some information from says like the craziest stories that you've never heard kind of title.
Right.
when she sent that message, I saw it last night at like midnight last night. I sat straight up in the bed. I almost called her and was like, what the fuck? And it was so hard. I know. And it was so hard for me not to text you and be like, God, it was so crazy. So Carla, I'm doing your request as planned way before you. I thought that was so nuts.
Mm-hmm.
4 episodes in, and people are predicting what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
That's not good quality. Okay, so I'm doing Tamara Samsonova, the Granny Ripper. This is just a good old fashioned murderer. So I got my info from a BuzzFeed article and then 2 YouTube channels. One is Ready to Glare, and the other one is Nor Jasmine, and they're both really fun. They just cover a lot of stories like things that we do. They're really fun. So this is St. Petersburg in Russia, July 2015. A couple is walking their dog alongside the road and they see a trash bag, which every time I see a trash bag along the side, I'm like,
me too.
I know what's in there. And I remember doing that all the way back, like when I was a kid, and I would be in the backseat, my parents were driving, and we'd pass a trash bag. I'd be like, there's something in there. There's a person in there. So the dog wouldn't stop sniffing the bag. He refused to be pulled away from it. He was like growling and whining. The couple opened the bag and found a torso, which is like a dream come true. Can you imagine? They found a torso of 78-year-old woman. She is Valentina Olnova, or Valia, which I'm going to call her Valia throughout the rest of this. So while investigators swarmed the scene and realized Valia has been reported missing already, they came across noticeable blood trails leading to the apartment complex across the street where Valia lived. The blood is traced close to the unit of Tamara Samsonova. Tamara was Valia's roommate, friend, and caregiver. She would not let authorities in to search her apartment, which is like, okay. The investigative committee, which is Russia's FBI, they immediately obtained CCTV footage from the apartment building and saw chilling footage of 68-year-old Tamara making several trips up and down 2 sets of stairs carrying trash bags that wound up strewn around the property and also in a local dumpster. The final trip out of the building, Tamara is seen carrying a large pot with a lid on it.
Oh.
The footage, I wonder, I'm going to see if I can somehow save these videos so we can put them on the Instagram, or maybe like a link or something, because it's insane, what this old woman's doing. So after watching the security footage, police go back to Tamara's apartment with a search warrant, and she confessed to everything. Her apartment was a wreck, and blood splatters were found on almost every surface throughout the living and kitchen area, and a large butcher knife lay on the floor along with a handsaw, which she claimed wasn't hers, and then later said it wasn't hers because she borrowed it from a neighbor. She's clearly not all there. Tamara was taken into custody for further interrogation. She explained in detail how she wrapped Valia in some curtains after dismembering her, then stuffed the wrapped body parts into trash bags. She confessed to boiling Valia's head, arms, and hands in a large pot. When describing the events, Tamara stated she was irritated that it took her 2 hours to do all of this, claiming her friend was, quote, fat and heavy.
Oh, God.
It's not funny, but it's like, listen to what you're saying, lady.
I know.
You're so irritated that it was so much work to cut your friend up. Police found all of Valia's body parts, given the fact that her hips and legs were only carried as far as the backyard, but they never found the head and hands, which were in the boiling pot. Tamara claims she took the pot to the trash chute, which then probably goes to a landfill and then God knows where, but she told authorities that she boiled the head and the hands and the arms, and that's what was in the pot. They never found it. I would love to dig through a landfill. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but there's so much non-interesting things. But I want to know statistics on how many bodies people think are in a landfill right now.
Me too. Oh, I should have looked that up. Or like how often you find like a bone.
I think they rarely even see anything like that because it's just a whole bunch of trash.
Yeah. When Tamara was asked how and why this happened and why she did this to her friend, she basically stated that her and Valya had an argument over the dishes. Being the caregiver for Valya complained that Tamara wasn't cleaning and that the dishes were piling up, and she told Tamara that she was, quote, tired of her. And Tamara said that set her off, and basically she thought of losing her job or being kicked out. The thought of losing her job or being kicked out scared her. She said she knew if she killed Valya, she would at least have a few more months with a place to stay before Valya's relatives turned up looking for her. It's kind of sad. I mean, I feel sad. I mean, she's clearly stable, but like, that's very sad. She's just concerned with like, she doesn't want to be homeless, you know?
Right.
I'm not trying to like back her up. I'm just saying.
No, but I kind of understand because I can't imagine the resources in Russia are very good for homeless people.
Yeah. Tamara crushed up 50 phenazepam, which is a sedative, and put it in Valya's favorite salad for lunch and went upstairs. When she came back down a few hours later, Valya was collapsed on the floor. Tamara then started to dismember Valya while she was still alive. She was sedated, obviously, but from the drugs, but she was still alive.
Oh my God.
I know. And this woman's 68 years old. She's a grandmother. Tamara said she first used the borrowed handsaw to saw off her friend's head. So during Tamara's interrogation and while she was in custody, police went back to her apartment and they found a diary where she had in detail described 11 other murders she had committed. And some wound up being cold cases from in the St. Petersburg area that were over a decade old. The diary included random poems and song lyrics or chants in between each morbid entry, and also short sentences describing tea she had that day. Her entries were in German, English, and Russian, and were very difficult to make out. And I found a picture of 2 pages from her diary. It just looks like scribbles, but I mean, I don't speak German or Russian, so it's something, but it looks pretty fucked up. There was one entry that immediately solved a cold case of a man named Volodya. Only his torso was found, but there was a tattoo on his torso that matched the detail in Tamara's diary entry. She had described the tattoo. There was also black magic books and astrology books found next to the diary. There were pages missing from the black magic book, and those pages were found in the bag with Volodya's torso years prior, but it had made no sense to crime scene investigators at the time. After she was linked to Volodya, the torso, the guy with the tattoo, they were able to link her to the 11 other unsolved cases which she had described, including her missing mother, her mother-in-law, and her husband. Other tenants also went missing in the building that she had lived in for over 40 years. So she lived in the same place for 40 years and was just like killing people in the building.
I can't believe she even finally got caught. I mean, at that point, I feel like you'd be an expert.
Yeah, right, yeah. So she had another apartment in the building that she subletted to a couple, and that couple went missing. And 15 years before that was when she lived with her husband, and he went missing. One tenant described a time she had tea with Tamara. She stated Tamara told her with glee in her eyes, quote, "My husband left one day and never came back." Tamara reported her own husband missing in 2005, and she was never a suspect, and he was later legally declared dead. They never found his body. I think it's crazy that you can declare someone dead without finding a body.
It has to be like a certain amount of time, I think, and I don't know what that time is in the U.S.
Or like you're claiming they're dead because you can't find them, so they're dead. Yeah.
If they can't find you after a certain amount of time, they declare you dead so that any of your maybe life insurance or anything like that can go to your family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah. Because what if he really did leave? I mean, she clearly seems off her fucking rocker. So
Yeah,
what
I
if
mean,
he...
there have been people who have, like, left and started a new life or whatever and weren't actually dead, but
Yeah.
no one knew that. They started a new life with a new identity,
Yeah.
so no one ever knew.
Yeah, I didn't think about insurance money and stuff like that. That's a good point. Okay, so are you ready for a twisted twister?
Yeah.
So out of the 11 bodies they link to her, all of the lungs and most internal organs had been extracted, including Valya's. So after deeming Tamara a serial killer with a possible occult reasoning behind them, they began to wonder if she was a cannibal. But then again, it's like, did she displace them? Because they couldn't find other large body parts from other victims, It's like, can you just not find them, or did she eat them? In the apartment complex, there was a plot of land across from the complex. The complex wound up extending, and they built over it. And they think that there were some body parts buried under there, because the older she got, I mean, she wasn't really carrying them that far. When she cut up her friend, her hip was like laying in the parking lot, So they think a lot of body parts were under the building after the complex extended. When media asked if she was a cannibal, Russia's investigative committee stated that it's not excluded, but can't be proven, even though she states in some diaries how she ate them, or in some diary entries how she ate them. And the fact that Valya's head and her hands were boiled on the stove doesn't necessarily mean she ate them. It could also mean she's trying to destroy identifying factors such as fingerprints and teeth. Again, I wouldn't put it past someone that can boil a person. If you go that far, I mean, the next step just seems like,
yeah, you might as well.
Right. What do you do after that anyway?
I mean, I do kind of wonder, and I know this is going to make me sound creepy, but I know that everybody else has wondered this too. What do people taste like?
I don't know.
You've wondered that, right?
I've wondered. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I've wondered, but not in the way of like, oh, like, like, what does that taste like? I've more so wondered, like, I don't think it's about taste though. Obviously, with someone that's a cannibal, you're not like that. People just taste so good. That's what I crave. No,
but I just wonder what it's like. I know it's like something way deeper and darker than. I just love the taste of human meat. I'm sorry.
That's disgusting. Or is it? We don't know.
Maybe we'll cover cannibals and
if it's disgusting. If any of you know a cannibal,
yeah,
let us know. We'll have them on. I want to
email us at NFWpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. I'm sure we can find that somewhere. I'm sure we can find some kind of cannibal describing like what it tastes like.
Yeah.
That's An occult expert for Russian media stated that if Tamara thought she was ill or feared she had weak lungs, she would have thought that consuming other lungs would strengthen her, and so on. But she was also obsessed with Andrei Chikatilo, who is a well-known cannibal, and also proclaimed to friends and family for years that she would be quite popular and famous one day, and didn't care how it happened. Anna Batalina was a longtime close friend of Tamara when they were younger. Anna said she feared for her own life after Tamara confessed that she had killed her mother-in-law. Tamara said to her, quote, "I'll kill you too if you tell. I'll cut you to pieces and throw you out for the dogs. Don't make me angry."
Oh.
I know. She doesn't look that scary though. She looks
Google her real quick.
She just looks like a little grandma.
This is Tamara and what?
Tamara Samsonova.
I mean, yeah, she looks like just a regular old lady.
Yeah, she just looks like I know. It's kind of sad, right?
Mm-hmm.
A popular newspaper that I cannot pronounce got access to her testimony. So these are some of the notes from the journalists of that paper who viewed the tapes and who were in the hearing because these tapes weren't released. In court, Tamara was reportedly smiling and blowing kisses to the press. When the judge asked her to address the court, she said, "It's stuffy in here. Can I go out?" When the judge told her she'd be held in custody, she clapped her hands and stated that she was excited to have a place to stay.
Oh,
I know.
That is sad. I feel like
she's
got some serious mental illness stuff kind of going on.
Oh, for sure. But then also it's like, you did have a place to stay.
Yeah.
And you killed her. So she's got a couple of screws loose. Once she was locked up, she stopped cooperating with police. They couldn't get any more details out of her about the victims. Tamara was eventually moved to a prison hospital. There she was declared insane. She had also been hospitalized 3 times for schizophrenia prior to Valya's killing. Tamara claimed she closed the chapter of killing in her life and she was happy to have a place to live, which she just does over and over and over. She's like grateful to be put away, to have somewhere to live. Tamara Samsonova was forced to take a forensic psychiatric exam, and on November 26, 2015, the results determined that she was a danger to society and herself, and therefore she was placed in a specialized institution until the end of investigation. In December 2015, she was sent for compulsory psychiatric treatment in a specialized hospital in Kazan, Russia, and she still remains there.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy? Check on your grandma. Make sure your grandma has a place to live.
I know, it's so sad.
I know. What's crazy is that she did it for years.
Yeah.
And then she just got a little messy, a little lazy on the last one.
Well, she was 68. I mean, she probably got tired. She's like, you know what? They didn't find the last one. I can just throw this one in the parking lot. It'll be fine.
Right. And then she was too fat and heavy and she got caught.
Yeah. She's like, all my other victims were skinny. This isn't fair.
I couldn't find a picture of her roommate, but I'll try to look some more. But that's your Granny Ripper. So we're doing a different show ender this week.
Yeah. Today's ender is going to be a special guest. My sister Melissa and my niece Carly are going to tell a ghost story that they experienced in real life.
It's very creepy. It's very creepy.
I'm ready. Deanna told me it was so crazy.
It is. Like, I never really had, like, I was kind of like on the fence with ghosts, like, oh, they could be real, they couldn't be real, this type of thing. But I married my husband in 2004, and he lived in this really awesome duplex in Toccoa. Well, out back, there was this, like, huge well. And it always creeped me out. I'm like, I've never seen a well this big. Like, you could definitely put a body in there. Just kind of creeped me out every time I would see it. Well, when he wasn't there, we lived with his sister too. I should say that. I moved in with him and his sister at the time. But whenever they were not at home and I was at home, I felt so uncomfortable. And I've never felt like uncomfortable at home by myself before. I'm like, something is really, really freaky with this situation. So I had asked my husband about it, and he's like, yeah, I've had that feeling when I first moved in, and before my sister moved in, I couldn't sleep in our bedroom by myself. And I'm like, this is creepy. Well, anyway, he wasn't there, and the neighbors would hear like kids playing all the time, and they thought we had like kids. But we only had Carly, and she was like 2 years old at the time. She was the only kid in the duplex. So they just always assumed that we had, children running around, playing and different things like that, which was not the case. Well, one night I got this creepy feeling like at 4:34 in the morning. I'll never forget the time because I rose up out of bed. You know how like if you have to go pee in the middle of the night, like you'll sit up in the bed and you'll kind of raise your arms up to kind of push yourself off the bed to get up. I literally shot straight up in the bed, and looking right above me was this girl.
Nope.
Carly's like, has her mouth like freaked out right now because you guys will find out soon about Carly's story, but Carly's like freaking out right now. But anyway, she was hovering over top of us, and she had on like a gown like you would see back in the early, I would say 1900s. It was like a long sleeve, and it was the poofy long sleeves, and it had like the ruffles on the end of the arms, and at the bottom it was like torn, like shredded. And once it got down toward her feet, you could not see her feet because her feet like disappeared. And she had this really long blonde brownish hair, and she had these marks on her neck, like black marks, black and blue marks on her neck, and her lips were blue, and she had almost like blood coming out of her lips. And she looked at me and she said, like mouthed me, help me, help me. And I'm like, was paralyzed. Like on your last podcast, you guys talked about like the paralyzation thing.
Oh, like sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I've had that when I was younger. When me and Deanna lived at home, I had that a couple of times, but I could not scream. I couldn't do anything. Well, all of a sudden my husband like woke up because she was hovering right over top of him, like looking at him. And we had this like stack of VHS tapes on the ground. And she like, when he woke up, she shot through the bedroom into the bathroom. And when she flew through the room, she hit the stack of videotapes and they fell over. And we were just freaking out. Like I could not scream. I like stared at her. It felt like for at least 10 to 15 minutes before he woke up is what it felt like. Like she was like mouthing, help me, help me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And she looked like she was probably only 10 or 11 years old, you know. Mm-hmm. And it was like she had like strangle marks on her neck. Oh so God. I'm like, I don't know what to do. The very next morning after we had went through all of this, I went to the bathroom to take a shower, and on the bathroom wall was a name, and the name on the wall was carved Candice, and it had it had an asterisk before the name and an asterisk after the name. And I thought, well, maybe this is just like a coincidence, because I always had this eerie feeling like around the bathroom area, because we had I guess you call it a double Dutch bathroom. Like our room, you could go into the bathroom, and then his sister's room, you could go into the bathroom from that side. But on the floor was fresh drywall powder. So the name had just been carved into the wall. Big letters, Candice, all caps. So where Carly comes into the picture is kind of creepy, because like she was only 2 years old at the time, and she was always like talking to somebody or playing patty cake or, so on and so forth. And I thought, well, this is just kind of new for her, because I had just married my husband and we had just moved into this new duplex or whatever. And I thought, well, she just has an imaginary friend. This is no big deal. Well, one day she was playing patty cake on the couch, and we said, Carly, who are you talking to? And she said, the mask. And we asked her what the mask looked like, and she described this ghost to the T. We had never spoke of her in front of Carly because, Carly was only 2. So we never told her what she looked like, what she was wearing. She talked about the dress that she was wearing. She talked about the necks on her mark. She talked about she said she had like lipstick. She called it lipstick, red lipstick on her lips. Oh my God. So we were like, I told my husband, I said, that's it. We are out of here. Yeah. But at the time, my sister-in-law, her boyfriend lived there for a short amount of time before I moved in, and he had seen Candice too. And it had freaked him out so bad that they ended up having to leave in the middle of the night and go to a hotel room.
Oh my God.
I don't know if Carly can tell you anything about Candice, like what she remembers from her, but here she is.
I don't really remember a lot about it, but the stuff I do remember, it's very detailed. I just remember, like, she was, like, my friend. Like, we were friends. Like, I didn't know she was a ghost. I didn't know she was bad. And we just used to play all the time. And then one thing I do remember is one time I was in the bathroom, and there were, like, these figures on the wall, like, lit up like candles, but there were no candles in the bathroom.
Oh, my God.
But there was, like, flickering on the wall. Candles.
So we were like really, really creeped out by that, because you know how like they say that dogs and kids can really sense like, a ghost, like they can just tell when something is there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, we have to get out of here. I cannot be a part of this. But in my mind, like I was telling my husband, like the only thing that I can think of, since she was so young and since she had like those marks like on her neck and stuff, was like, I feel like maybe she was strangled and like put in that well.
Yeah, maybe.
Like that's how I feel. He never saw her, but he felt her. Like he could feel just really uneasy when he was in the bedroom or in the bathroom, and he didn't like being there by himself either. You know, he just knew something was off. And so did his sister, and so did her boyfriend. And then, like, I found out that these freaking things can follow you. So Carly's like panicked that Candice is going to be following her home tonight.
Oh my God.
When she leaves.
She said these freaking things.
Yeah.
These freaking things. Was it Candice with an I?
No, it was not. It was Candance.
I'm alive. I'm still alive.
Okay.
Oh
but I'm
my
telling you, like,
God.
I was like super suspicious, like, is there really ghosts? Like, this kind of thing. But I'm just telling you, it's the only thing that I have seen besides the shadow person that me and my sister saw when she was younger on the porch.
Oh yeah.
That like was like, ooh, is this real, or is it just kind of in our imagination?
But since you're older than Deanna, do you remember that shadow person on the porch the same way?
Well, I mean, I remember more like features of him, like wearing a hat and having like a beard. Like I don't remember just him just being like a shadow. I remember more,
yeah.
But see, I have a much fuzzier memory of him that I remember a hat, but I don't remember any facial features at all. But I think that was just like my age, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, again, too, like, I'm sure Deanna's told you, we've had a pretty, like, crazy childhood. So, you know, we've seen some stuff that other people are like, ooh, you know, that's not normal. But anyway, like, I've always wondered, you know, I always questioned whether or not ghosts were real and, you know, about the, you know, what happens and all of that kind of stuff. But when Candice came through, let me tell you, I know she was real. I know she needed some help, and it was freaking scary.
And you left her.
Like, really, yeah. Like, hot. Coming out hot.
Bye.
It was like, bye, Felicia. We are gone.
My God.
Did you ever do any research into seeing, like, if there was a little girl named Candice in Toccoa who was murdered?
No, but I would love to do that. But let me tell you another thing. This is going to freak you guys out. Another thing.
I love it.
And Carla can attest to this. So when we moved into the house that we're into now, Deanna knows that I found my biological dad back in 2013. And he lived with us for 9 months in the house that we're in. So he took his like last breath in this house. Well,
live in right now.
Yes, that we're in right now. And I had my Bible on my nightstand, and inside my Bible that I was using as a bookmark was a picture of my biological dad. Well, I woke up one morning and guess what picture was on top of the Bible, not in the middle of the Bible?
Oh my God.
My dad's picture. Yeah. My dad's picture. And I'm like questioning Carly and I'm questioning Scott. And I'm like, did you guys do this to like mess with me? And they're like, no, we did not do this. So my dad was always like super excited that we were like baptized together and going to church and so on and so forth. And one day we went downstairs to get ready to go to work. And on top of my cabinets, you know how people like put pictures and stuff on top of their cabinets?
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture on top of our cabinet of the three of us being baptized together, me, Scott, and Carly. And it has scripture on it. Guess where the picture was?
On the counter.
On the counter.
Oh my God.
Carly couldn't even reach the picture if she would have climbed on a chair on top of the cabinet, got to the top of the cabinets.
Yeah.
So those are just like some of the things. And Carly has even said before she moved out, she's like, I feel like Grandpa is here. I feel like he's just here. I can like feel him. I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that?
I do. Sometimes when I'm in here, I do feel it. Like, I can honestly feel it a little bit now. You can just feel this heavy presence with you.
Put him on.
I wish you would have told me that before I came down for Christmas last year.
Oh gosh, if I go downstairs in the morning and his hat and his sunglasses are on the counter, I will freaking crap my pants.
Oh,
Yeah.
I promise you.
God. Wow.
So in my mind, there's no doubt in the world is there like ghosts. You can have an encounter with them. I don't know.
You know, I feel like the people that are the most skeptical are the people that see the most things, the most entities and stuff like that. Like I'm a full-on believer and I've never seen ever.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing ever. Nothing has ever been out of place. I've never been like, oh, what was that? Ever, ever, ever.
Well, see, my husband is completely different because he's like, before he's like, oh, there's no ghosts and all this kind of stuff. But when the whole entire Candice thing happened, he's like, this is real. Something is going on.
Wow.
You know, I don't really know what to say about it, but he felt her there.
Yeah.
Like she was like looking down at him. Like, it was so creepy because oh my gosh, she was like hovering over top of him, like looking down at him. And I'm like paralyzed in fear so bad that I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. I could not do anything at all. Nothing. I couldn't do anything. And then all of a sudden he woke up. I don't know. He said he just felt like off and he woke up, and that's when she took off into the bedroom. And the next day, you know, I saw the name on the wall and I'm like, did you have a freaking girlfriend before me named Candice? It's like, no. And then I looked on the ground, saw the you know, the drywall powder or whatever, and I'm like, this is fresh. This is like,
that's so crazy.
What the hell?
Oh, it was so creepy. It was so creepy because every detail that she had, Carly described when she was, you know, 2 years old. She's like described everything. And we never talked about this in front of Carly because, you know, we didn't want her to be freaked out.
Yeah.
One day Carly's like, you know, playing patty cake on the couch. I'm like, who are you playing with? She's like, oh, my friend, the mask. And I'm like, well, the mask, what does she look like? And then she starts telling me about her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's freaking Candice.
No.
Yeah.
We should have done this at 8 a.m. today.
Yeah, I know.
No, like Carly says, whenever she comes over, we always watch scary movies. She's like, I'm going to have to go home and watch Dora the Explorer now.
That's so funny. I always have to watch something like fun. I'll put on like SpongeBob or something after I terrify myself.
Yeah, because she lives in the woods.
Oh my. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be there.
I just take my sleeping pill and I just go to sleep.
Oh. Yeah, that works too.
I don't know. Some of those sleeping pills can have you like having some crazy dreams.
I mean, I do have crazy dreams, but they're never scary. They're just weird.
Yeah, Peter takes melatonin sometimes to go to sleep, and he says that when he takes it, he has like the weirdest. It's when he sleeps the worst.
Yeah, that's what Cody says too about melatonin. That it gives him crazy dreams.
That's crazy.
It's Benadryl for me. I can't do Benadryl. It's so bad. It is so bad.
Like you can't sleep, or you have like weird dreams on it.
It's crazy because I wake up a lot in the middle of the night. Like last night around 2 something, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I was like looking in my closet. I'm like, is that the damn shadow person that Deanna was talking about? So then I started thinking about stuff, and I'm like looking around, and I'm like, is my dad in here?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God.
It's really creepy.
We sleep with the TV on, and Peter will he'll wake up and turn it off at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'll immediately hear it just makes a little ding when it goes off, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm turning the TV off. It's morning. I'm like, yeah, it's still dark outside. Let's turn the TV back on, please.
That's really funny. But
I can't do the dark.
if anybody like ever has a question about ghosts, we've seen them and they are real.
Amazing. That was so much better than I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so creepy. We still get goosebumps every time I tell the story or think about it.
Yeah.
So do I.
To talk about.
It's like crazy. Like Scott's dad doesn't believe us. He's like, oh, that's stupid or whatever. You know, I don't believe in that or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's real. It really happened to us. And I'm telling you, that duplex that we lived in was nice. It was great. It was in a great location. But I said, we have to get out of here. I can no longer live here. I don't even feel comfortable being here by myself.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like something is like watching me like all the time. So I could not do it any longer. So we had to get out of there.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you did before Candice dragged Carly down into the well.
She's somebody else's problem now.
Yeah.
I know. I wish that I would have like talked to the landlord about it, but she was like really old, so could have had dementia or something. I'm like, oh yeah, I know about her. I don't know, but I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
It was in East Valley.
You should.
I'll look it up and see if I can find anything out about it. But see, we really didn't like trust our neighbors when they were talking about, oh yeah, we thought you guys had like a bunch of kids because they were stoners. Like you could, every time you would walk into our duplex, you could get a contact high off of their apartment. So like, we're like, oh, we don't really trust what they're saying,
right?
You know, because
yeah,
I'm 27,
yeah,
you know. So I don't know. It was really crazy.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks
but I'm gonna let Carly go home.
Okay.
Now that she's scared to death.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna take
Stay there.
Yeah, just spend the night.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on and telling your story.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was so good.
Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my.
Wasn't that so scary?
Oh my God. No fucking way.
I know.
Holy shit. That was really good. I love that like her husband, they both saw it. You know, because I feel like if I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw something like that and I tried to explain it to Peter the next day, he would find every single reason or excuse to tell me that I saw something else or I didn't see it or tried to explain what I saw or you were dreaming or you were this or what did you take before you went to sleep or you drank too much wine, blah, 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 blah. It's when two people experience the same thing, then it's 100%. And then that Carly saw it too. Oh, God. It's
the
so
fact
good.
that she called it the mask freaked me out the most, I think.
Yeah. Well, whenever she said like, oh, I didn't even know. I just thought like this was my friend and she came over all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So creepy.
We want to do that a lot more, you guys. That was so fun. I would love to have on. If you have a story, we'll bring you on. If we know you and love you and trust you, we'll bring you on. Oh my God, that's so good.
And soon I think we're going to have like a voicemail line once we get that figured out. So that if you don't want to come on live, maybe if your schedule doesn't work out or if you don't want the pressure of being live, then you can just leave a voicemail of your story. Because I think some people don't want to type it up or, you know, whatever. Right.
And also coming on and having a conversation is much different than you just calling, saying your story, and then hanging up. So yeah definitely want to do that for sure. Kayla and Bud have a ghost in their house.
Really?
She's been telling me about it for like the past few weeks. A child, like a little boy that she says, and no one else has saw it. She says only she has seen it, but she says like clear as day. He's like stood in the doorway of her bedroom and twice. She's seen it twice, 2 or 3 times, I think she said. And she said Bud hasn't seen it, but he's heard it, I think. And she said that she knows the kids hear stuff too, but they just kind of chalk it up to like, there's 6 people in this house, they're
Right.
not a ghost, but Kayla has seen it.
Oh my God, that's so creepy.
I know. I want to make her call in when we set up a Google number or something. But she also, did I tell you that the thing with their Ring camera?
Yeah, you told me about that.
Right at the fire. So she had the Ring camera, which we have also, but I guess I didn't know that you could do like a home one inside the house. So they had one set up in the living room because they have kids that would be home for a little bit before they got home from work. And her middle son like called Bud crying one day saying, and you can talk through the cameras and stuff and say like, stop beating up your sister or whatever. So her middle son like called Bud one day and said, or her middle son called Kayla and was crying. And he was like, are you talking to us through the Ring camera? Like, stop it. You're scaring us. You're freaking us out. And then Kayla was like, no, I'm at work. I don't know what you're talking about. And so she called Bud and was like, stop fucking with the kids. Like, you're freaking them out. And then he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm also at work. Like, they took the camera down because there was someone talking to them through the Ring camera.
And what was the person saying? Like something like, I can see you.
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh my God, that would be so scary.
Yes, just saying I can see you over and over, which is that's so weird.
I know.
Oh my God, that's terrifying. If that happened to me right now, I would like call Peter crying. I'd be like, stop playing with me. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. I don't want one of those cameras inside my house.
Yeah, I don't want it inside at all. And I thought that I did, but I do not.
What about like the camera that records, like, do you have one in the nursery with Blair?
So I just got one this week because our room is so close to her room. She's like 10 feet down the hall and it's all hardwood. So it just echoes. Like if she sneezes, we can hear it. And we have an audio monitor. And so we keep the other one downstairs or with us. It has like a clip on it. So you can just carry it around with you. So we can hear her. But I didn't get one just for the sole fact is like, I don't want to look in there and see something that's not supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
Terrifying. If you look up fucking like nanny cams and not nanny cams, because that's probably like abuse, but cameras, like nursery cameras and stuff like that. It's terrifying. I've seen so many videos of either the kid doing something really fucking weird or there's something else in the room, like a black shadow or like a light or something. Like I've seen so many where there's something blocking the camera for like 5 minutes. Like, what the hell is that? Probably just a piece of dust, but whatever. So we just this week because she can move around so much now and she's crawling on things and she's like climbing on things and I want to see when she actually wakes up. So we did just get one. It's not that scary. It doesn't look that scary. It's kind of light. It's not that night vision kind of look. It looks like it's in the room. So I like that.
Okay. Well, that's good. But please do report in if...
Report in? I'm going to report in my baby. I'm going to give my baby if I see her. I saw this one video of this kid. He's standing on the railing of his crib. Standing.
I think you sent me that.
Probably. Straight as a board, just standing. It's on YouTube. It's fucking terrifying. He's just standing there for 2 minutes, and then he just falls into the crib and goes back to sleep. And he's like 1. He's the age and the size of Blair. But even if he's 5, how is he standing on the balancing like that in pitch black? It makes no sense. It's terrifying. I never wanted one. I'm probably not going to keep it for that long. I hate it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's super scary. And that's another reason why.
But if I do, Yeah, if I catch something terrifying, you guys are going to see it here first.
Yes. But that's another reason I don't want kids, you know? They just...
Okay,
footage.
Quit adding to the list.
Oh, yeah. With every one that someone... An excuse that someone, like, chips away, I...
Add some more pros and less cons, okay?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's about it for today.
It's episode 4. This feels like episode 10. It's only 4.
I know.
Okay, episode 4, Down the Hatch.
Down the hatch.
Please continue to rate, subscribe, review. We have a lot of listeners and not a lot of reviews.
Yeah.
If you're listening, just please take 5 seconds and just go give us some stars. Write a word, write 1 sentence review. It's so easy. Please go do it. Please, please, please. It's really helpful.
Yeah, and follow all our socials and be sure to email us if you have any ideas or stories to tell us yourself.
Yes. And look for the Facebook page. It's no fucking way. That's it. Look up the Facebook page. You
Should
can put
be
your
the only
story.
one.
Yeah. Find us. You can find us everywhere, every outlet.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for Twitter. We don't do Twitter.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Tweet.
It's boring.
Okay. See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye. Cut that out.
I'm cutting all of that out.
Yeah, maybe cut it all ages out. Except for Cassidy being a mistake. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to put that at the beginning.